Evening all, welcome to Space Engineers, right? What we're going to do this time is it's going to be a little bit boring actually. Don't switch off, not yet. It's going to be talking about how the economy of this game is going to work, at least from what I see, so post in the comments if I get half this wrong, because I generally usually do. So the way this game is going to work is you're firstly going to need to have, at the level 1, almost your very bottom rung of the vertical supply chain, is going to be the minerals in the rock. So there we go, that's some minerals and they're in a rock, and that's how it works. So that is probably silicon or iron or magnesium, we don't know, but in essence we know that that is some form of precious entity, that's something we need to mine. So using just a my standard mining drone that you probably saw me build maybe 3 or so episodes ago, we start to just mine this thing, and in the process of just literally excavating the ore is then locked into the mining units spinning away at the front. So literally it's collecting the rock as we do this. Now, it's not an exact science, and that's what I like about it, because it really is just about, this is some form of mineral, go mine it. I like that. And there are different coloured minerals for different coloured things. Usually they respond to the real world look. So iron is a kind of rusty looking colour. Gold is gold, obviously. And I think this is silicon, but I could be wrong. But it's all really just then linked around the fact that you know that it's something that you need. Now, there we go. That's a very quick excavation of a patch there. So we move around the rock a little bit more. We'll go and have a look and see what we can find. And in this case, I'm just thinking, oh, there we go. So that looks, well, that could be iron. I'm not sure if it is, but we'll have a look. So again, when ore detectors work, that's exactly what they'll tell you. They'll tell you what that is. But unfortunately, the only way to tell what it is to actually dig into the rock and figure out what it is. And again, as you can see, it's producing a kind of number of byproducts from this that if you so wished, you could capture in a gravitational field and then manipulate and do stuff with. But generally what I'm finding is you don't need to do that too much, because the mining, well, I guess modules, the things spinning on the front, generally capture most of the ore. So these are little tiny pebbles, so it's probably not worth capturing them. But again, post in the comments if I got that wrong. And in this case, we're kind of mining brown. So let's see what we've got. So we managed to get, is that gold? No, nickel. And I forgot what I didn't see what the other one was. But in essence, this is working. So we're now starting to get the precious minerals, not just stone. Although you do need stone, you need it to actually refine into gravel. But in essence, we're picking up the bits we need. So in this case, we're just going to keep mining here. And mining is very therapeutic in this game. It's thoroughly enjoyable. Look at that, just that little bit there. So there we go. So now we got, obviously this is steel. No, it's not, it's iron. So we're actually now mining iron. You can tell because it's got that kind of rusty looking color to it. So that's worked out quite nicely there. So let's just keep going. Now we're going to get a little bit of stone here as well. So I'm just going to open up this this bit here. But in essence, that's kind of how it works. And as you can see, we've kind of mined quite a bit of this stuff here. And I would say that, when the game moves away from creative, you're going to have to be pretty good at this. It's going to be no different to Minecraft, where you can't, you can't spawn, well, you can spawn blocks in, you can spawn stuff in. Of course you can, but if you're going to be truly playing this game as an immersionist, then you shouldn't need to do that. So mining will be really kind of front and center of the skill of the game. So fast forward, we now go back to this is actually the original red dwarf here, before we did our big rebuild upon it. So you can see that's why it's named that. But in essence, this was just a working mining deck. So hence why I've come back to this one. And you can copy paste all your ships as well. I don't know if people know that, but anyway, so we go up to our drill and we then take all of the stuff out of it. So there was like magnesium there was some form of iron, I think, as well, and so on. So you see how that all works. Now what we do is we then go into our kind of assembly or rather refining deck. And we start to use the refineries, as you see here. Now, having multiple refineries may be required, but I'm not sure yet. So, as we come into a refinery here, we just literally drop these things into a refinery. And it seems that there's a tick. Every few seconds it ticks, and it goes ticks, refine, tick, refine, tick, refine. and it's picking up stuff. So as you can see, that stuff's starting to come through now. So already it started to refine magnesium. Now we need magnesium as a base component for all things. So I take all of these materials, and you see there, this is some materials I prepared earlier, and we're now ready to assemble things. And this is how the game is going to work. You're going to create frames, components, and parts that you then will turn into grids of blocks, and then that grid will be what you place, and then with your welder and your grinder, etc., you will then fix that block in place entirely. So it's not just a case of laying blocks and that's it, you're done. You actually will place a block, then a frame, and then you will weld it into position, and you'll weld a plate onto it, and you'll build it in stages. So the majority of this game is actually going to be about building the thing, not just getting the materials and then clicking done, click, build. It's going to be about really building in multiple stages, which is very exciting. I really am quite chuffed for this. So there we go. Look at the assemblers already producing components. In this case, it's solar panels, it's rods, it's structures, it's engine parts, it's construction items. There's a whole list of things, and as you can see, each item needs a particular material, so gold, frankincense, myrrh, whatever, and then you put them into a grid, and then effectively these produce components, and that's it. That's kind of how the game's going to go. Certainly from first principles, that's what it's looking like. There may be a second stage assembly piece which would then take sheets of metal, engine components, etc., and then you'd turn them into modules. So that's still yet to be determined, but already quite exciting. I'm really quite excited about this, because I think the reality is you're going to end up with quite an interesting game where if you want to build a Titan, quote, I'm going to need a whole team of people welding and building this thing. Imagine watching this thing get built slowly over the period of days. Oh my god, that's going to be fun. It's going to be difficult. People are going to attack it. People are going to build wrong things in the wrong places. How on earth is this going to work? I can't wait to find out. I really can't. You saw also that you can mine uranium, and uranium can then be put into a nuclear reactor as well to enrich it. Why? Don't know. Maybe to produce warheads, we'll see. But already there's lots of quite intriguing, interesting, exciting things coming that I just think are going to make this game very interesting indeed. And I think one of the key things from it is going to be, as you see here, look, we've got another assembler. I'm then able to put all of the components into this. I can actually access all of the other ones as well, so I can see how multiple refineries are going, etc. But in essence, that's where this particular build has got to in terms of building. We took ore and rocks, we turned them into minerals, we refined them, and then we took those refined minerals and we turned them into parts. Now, I would imagine the next step is going to be taking those parts and turning them into finished blocks, or rather finished items that you would then build. So you won't get literally an assembler. You will get maybe the genesis of an assembler that you then have to literally spend time welding, building, hammering, and so on. And then over time, maybe you add another bit to it, and whatever it may be, but you'll then build them together. So in essence, this is going to be a very complex game. Well, not totally complex, but it's going to be a game nonetheless that I think really will drive quite an exciting kind of build model, because I think a lot of the challenge of this is not how good a builder you are, it's how much of a good resource collector you are, how good a blueprint designer you are, how good an architect you are, and also how good a foreman you are. And as an engineer myself, I can tell you now, no game has ever done that, and I cannot wait for this game to come. Hope you enjoyed that. See you next time.